Right now, inside a single secured room in the Netherlands, a machine is firing an industrial laser 50,000 times a second at drops of molten tin. It is creating an artificial star hotter than the surface of the sun, just to harvest a rare volatile band of radiation. If that one room loses power, or if someone locks the doors, the entire digital world freezes in place. It doesn't slow down, it stops. Every phone, every AI server, every missile guidance system on the planet is held hostage by a single point of failure. And there is a silent war going on right now over who controls it. Spies, leaked blueprints, smuggled parts, because whoever wins this room wins the future. We live in an era defined by a ruthless multi-billion-dollar race for technological dominance. Governments are spending hundreds of billions of dollars to build massive semiconductor foundries on their own soil. Tech giants are trading trillions of dollars in market value based entirely on who can secure the next batch of advanced microchips. It looks like a sprawling, hyper-competitive global industry, but it is all an illusion. If you trace the supply chains of every advanced tech company on Earth back to their absolute origin, the competition completely vanishes. The endless web of foundries, designers, and tech empires narrows down to a quiet town called Veldhoven, and inside that town sits a company that you likely have never heard of. Not Apple, not Nvidia, not even close. The company is ASML, and they do not design AI models, nor do they manufacture microchips. They build the machines that make them. More specifically, they are the only entity on Earth capable of manufacturing extreme ultraviolet lithography systems, known simply as EUV scanners. To call it a monopoly would be a severe understatement. If ASML's main facility disappeared tomorrow, the entire digital world freezes for at least a decade. No new phones, no new graphics cards, no next-generation AI. Full stop. So how did one company get a total monopoly on the future? For 80 years, making a computer more powerful meant one thing: shrinking down the electronic switches called transistors. In the early days, engineers used light to project a blueprint of the circuit onto the silicon. It was essentially microphotography. But as transistors shrank down to the width of a few nanometers, engineers hit a hard physics barrier. The wavelength of visible light is simply too fat. Trying to carve a 2-nanometer transistor using standard laser light is like trying to paint a microscopic masterpiece using a massive 4-inch household paintbrush. The light waves bleed into each other, ruining the pattern. To go even smaller, humanity needed a light wave so sharp, so unimaginably thin, that it could stencil lines just atoms apart. They needed extreme ultraviolet light, a wavelength of exactly 13.5 nanometers. There is only one problem, however. Extreme ultraviolet light does not exist naturally on Earth in a usable form. It is a temperamental, volatile band of radiation that is violently absorbed by almost everything it touches, including regular air. To print chips with it, you have to manufacture an artificial star inside of a total vacuum. Now, here is how insane that process actually is. A droplet of molten tin drops through a vacuum chamber at 200 miles an hour. A laser strikes it, flattening it into a microscopic pancake shape. A fraction of a microsecond later, a second, infinitely more powerful laser pulse hits the flattened tin and instantly vaporizes it, heating it to nearly 500,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The tin atomizes into a plasma. Then, the plasma flashes, emitting a brief, intense burst of 13.5 nanometer EUV light. This mechanical choreography happens 50,000 times every single second. But catching that light is an entirely separate nightmare. Because EUV radiation destroys normal glass on contact, ASML had to develop a system of specialized hyper-precise mirrors. These mirrors are polished to a degree of smoothness that defies comprehension. If you were to scale one of these mirrors up to the size of the entire United States, the largest bump on its surface would be less than a fraction of an inch high. A single EUV machine contains over 100,000 separate components. It requires 3 Boeing 747 cargo planes just to transport, and it costs upwards of $350 million. It is the most complex machine humanity has ever built, and ASML is the only group on Earth that knows how to build one. This absolute reliance has turned a Dutch engineering firm into the ultimate prize in a silent international Cold War. Washington views ASML not as a business, but as a critical geopolitical weapon. Through intense diplomatic pressure, the United States has successfully barred ASML from exporting its cutting-edge EUV systems to China, effectively cutting off an empire of over 1 billion people from the future of computing overnight. And this is exactly why the espionage began. Foreign intelligence agencies are tracking a multi-front underground campaign to bypass these export controls. Corporate spies, leaked blueprints, smuggled parts. Anyone trying to shortcut their way to this technology. Because if you cannot buy the chokepoint, you try to build your own. Now, here's the problem. You simply cannot just copy it. This machine only exists because of a hidden web of other monopolies. The specialized lasers come from a single German company. The flawless mirrors require a specific chemical photoresist industry that takes decades to qualify. Every single component is its own impossible to replicate bottleneck, and the stakes are escalating. The industry is currently transitioning to a brand new iteration called High-NA EUV. These next-generation machines cost nearly $400 million apiece, and they're pushing the limits of physics even further, attempting to print features down to a staggering 1.4 nanometers. Tech giants are already fighting for priority allocation, pouring tens of billions of dollars into foundries that are completely useless without ASML's permission. One company, one room, one machine that no government, no rival, no amount of money can currently replace. Humanity has taught silicon to think. But we can only print that logic using a machine that manufactures a star and polishes mirrors to atomic precision just to catch its light. Every AI breakthrough, every phone in every pocket, every next-generation weapon system, all of it traces back to this one fragile lens. If that room goes dark, the future doesn't just slow down, it stops entirely. So, if one country actually did pull this off and built their own EUV machine completely from scratch, do you think it would be the US, China, or someone nobody is even talking about yet? Make sure to drop your opinions down in the comments because I read all of them. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.